also is my least favorite vegetable, and I will not eat this ever. You know, if you're hungry, if you look at your label, there is no calories on that label. There's nothing in this. So if you like pickles, this is something you can throw in as a snack food. Be careful with this if you are notorious for going a little extra. Having that extra bite, that extra tablespoon, this is probably not for you. I was fortunate enough that I was the guy who could get away with 500 grams of carbs and still be fine in competition prep, but that's not everyone. So your metabolism is gonna be, that was a low day. Like 500 was a low day, yeah. Yeah, I was notorious for doing over 1,000 a day. Yeah. Hey, Muscle and Strength, Justin Compton here. I'm gonna take you guys through a grocery haul. We're gonna go in here. I'm gonna show you guys some of the food that I used to eat, some of the food I eat now, kind of explain how things have changed. I'm gonna give you guys some options of how you can hold your muscle, stay lean, and lose some body fat for the summer. Let's go. Some of you guys may not know me if you're kind of new to the scene, but I've been around in bodybuilding for a long time. I actually did my very first competition when I was 18. It was kind of right after high school. It was my first year of college, and I didn't know a lot about nutrition at that time. I thought I did, but the thing is, like, the information that's free and available in today was not there, 20 years ago. Over the course of the next 3 to 5 years of my life, I went on and I did educate myself. And yes, I had coaches along the way. I thank them, I appreciate them. I did learn a whole lot there, and I learned a lot on my own as well. So I learned how to make the right choices, and clearly it paid off. I mean, I ended up winning multiple other shows, getting my pro card, and moving on into the pro ranks. And most people, if you guys are following this channel, you probably know what a pro bodybuilder's diet looks like. It's not super sophisticated. I did do mine slightly different than some people, but at the end of the day, it's not rocket science on that. But now that I am a little older and I'm retired, my goals have shifted in life. But that being said, that doesn't mean that I'm just gonna completely let myself go, or I wanna shrink back up, or that I wanna be unhealthy or anything in between on that. So I still do my best to take care of myself, but also allow myself a little bit more freedom. Like the food choices, I branch out some. I don't constantly eat the exact same thing over and over, which is why I wanted to show you guys some different options, things that you can buy in the store to be able to keep you healthy, keep you on track, and still lose weight, still meet goals. We're gonna start here in the fruit section. So I like to mix mine up. I'll do 2 or 3 different fruit sources. And the reason I choose this is because I'm not, if I was actually in contest prep, this would not be my go-to, but just to be able to kind of curb your cravings, lose some fat, get yourself in a deficit, and not feel constantly craving food. The reason I like this is it does give you like a little bit of an instant burst of energy because of the sugar, the fructose, but also the fiber in it will help keep you fuller for longer rather than you eating. If it's just rice, you're gonna be hungry rather quickly. Rice works amazing for both prep and off-season, growing muscle, maintaining muscle, but unfortunately it is kind of a blank carbohydrate, so your body will go through it quickly. That's why it works really good in the off-season for a lot of like bigger bodybuilders who need to eat a substantial amount of calories. You're able to get those calories in through the rice. And if you try to eat like 5, 6 apples, you're gonna be very bloated and very full. So we're gonna start here, but we're not gonna get gala apples because I'm bougie and I'm picky, and the only thing I eat is Honeycrisp. Probably around 6 weeks out or so is when I would stop my fruit and I would take it over to another carbohydrate source. Well, we're gonna do this anyways, but we're gonna get to that as we move to the back of the store. All right, so we'll grab these. We're gonna move over and grab some bananas. So I'm also a little bit picky with my bananas. A lot of people would probably frown upon me for doing this, but like these need another 4 or 5 days for me. Like I like them to be kind of almost look like they're bruised, almost like they're going bad. Like when I eat my bananas, I prefer them to be soft, almost like you're gonna make banana bread. Like this stuff, this is like 10 days out for me to eat that. I don't know, you'd be surprised. I see some people that like them like that, and it's just not for me. So we're gonna go here. This is usually one of my go-tos. is spinach, but I have a bunch of this at the house, so we're gonna put this back today. But I like to incorporate probably between 3 to 4 cups of vegetables per day. And I do mix and match them. I don't just eat the same one every time, but this is also gonna go back to a fiber content, and this is gonna kind of keep you fuller longer. And this whole box of spinach is probably like 80 calories. So you're not really consuming a lot of calories here. Plus you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals with this as well. Sometimes I'll actually get just avocados because I actually like the taste of it, but other times I'll come in, if I want to spice it up, if you don't want something that's just plain Jane, like you can actually get this guac that's pre-made, and the calories on this is going to be very, very, very similar to just avocado. So there's not really anything extra added into this. I mean, it's got tomatoes, water, onions in it. So it's going to be a little bit spicy if you prefer that, but this is also going to be a good vegetable for you, and it's going to be a good healthy fat source as well. So this is also going to slow things down as far as you not being as hungry throughout the day. If you're just eating, again, protein and carbs, and you don't have a little bit of fats in there, yeah, that will pick your metabolism up, but you're also going to be very, very hungry throughout the day. So I would recommend some form of healthy fats. This is one of my go-to. Okay, so this should be a common section that you see bodybuilders in. I'm going to kind of go over what I get from here and why I get this. I'm going to start with this. I personally like the taste of cauliflower. Some people don't, and this is how I get mine as well. I actually get the actual head of cauliflower. I don't get the chopped kind already. I just prefer this. And then some people get cauliflower rice. And I think the cauliflower rice is a very good addition for dieting because you can actually put a lot of volume in your stomach to make you, again, not feel as full. You feel like you're actually eating rice, but you're not. And you can eat like 200 calories worth of that, and it's gonna be a huge bowl. We'll get to that in the next section, in the frozen section. But also, you guys will see, this was my least favorite vegetable, and I will not eat this ever. But asparagus is very common in bodybuilders. They like it. You know, a lot of people think so it makes you drier with a diuretic effect. I'm not even getting into that. That's a whole different topic. But it's just not for my taste buds, but it does seem to work for most people. This was actually probably my favorite vegetable, and it's probably most people's least favorite vegetable is broccoli. So everybody's heard the chicken and broccoli diet, right? A lot of people do have some digestive issues with it, and if you do, you got a whole selection here. Try something else. You know, you're not set to one thing, so understand that, like, because one guy eats a certain food, you don't have to do the exact same thing as that person. There is variety, there is options. You just have to make good, smart, healthy choices here. So this was always my favorite, but again, it's not for everybody. Take your pick. You got a whole line of vegetables here. Okay, so I'm gonna get blueberries here. This is gonna be another carbohydrate option that I like to use as well. So obviously what it says, you can use this smoothies, but if you guys wanna have smoothies with protein shake, or if you wanna toss it in your oats, or if you just wanna eat them plain and eat them raw, that's perfectly fine as well. So this is another option that I like to use. So this is something I'm gonna show you guys. I didn't even know this existed, like in the first part of my career. This would work really good for contest prep as well. It's just cauliflower rice. So if you look at this whole bag, the whole bag is 80 calories. I mean, that's quite a bit in there. So this is a lot of volume that will actually fill your stomach. So I don't use this at all because I was fortunate enough that I was a guy who could get away with 500 grams of carbs and still be fine in competition prep, but that's not everyone. So your metabolism is gonna be, that was a low day. Like 500 was a low day, yeah. Yeah, I was notorious for doing over 1,000 a day. Yeah, so like I didn't need the extra volume, but that's not everyone's case. So this is a good option if you're someone who has to go low on carbs. Again, you don't want to feel super hungry. You're gonna have to feel a little bit hungry to lose weight. That's just inevitable. Like this will kind of help spare your cravings a little bit as well. So instead of eating the vegetables over there, you can throw this in a microwave and it's good to go. So this would be a staple in someone's diet, I feel like, if you are struggling a little bit to keep things together. You know, another good fat source here is peanut butter, but I'm gonna recommend you guys not to use it, and I'm gonna explain that. You're in a caloric deficiency state and your body's tired and it's hungry, you're probably more likely gonna fall off the rails with something like this because it is more appetite soothing than vegetables or fruit. So this is gonna taste good to you, and when it tastes good to you, you might go a little overboard with this. So that's why I don't recommend the peanut butter, because just 32 grams is gonna be 200 calories, and you'd be quite surprised at how easy it is to eat the whole jar by yourself. I can say I've done it. Okay guys, so this was always my go-to. This is, I do prefer the natural peanut butter. I like Smucker's. I like this brand. You do gotta separate it, or sorry, it does come like separated from the actual peanut butter and the oil that's in it. Mix that up, throw it in the refrigerator. I like creamy, doesn't matter, take your pick, whatever your taste buds like. But this was always my go-to, but like I said, I don't recommend this unless you are someone who can be very disciplined and actually measure it out properly. Because again, 190 calories for 32 grams, if you're not measuring that, you're gonna blow your calorie intake for the day really fast with this. So be careful with this if you are notorious for going a little extra. Having that extra bite, that extra tablespoon, this is probably not for you. Beef was always incorporated in my diet. I don't think there was ever a phase that I did not have red meat in my plan, and I still eat it every day almost to this day. So for me, this will be 93. I'm good with 93. 90's good. I don't really eat the ground chuck. I don't do the 80 because there's gonna be a lot higher fat content in that. But I actually don't do this, the 96.4. I think that is a little bit too lean for what we're actually shooting for here. We'll explain that in a second. So looks like the best we're gonna do here is I would go with this, and I'm actually gonna buy this today because I don't have any at the house right now. So I'm gonna get 93.7. And what a lot of people do with this is they like to cook this and they'll strain or drain the fat off of it. And I do the exact opposite, because you want those fats in your diet. That's the whole purpose. Like if you're straining it off, I mean, one, you're not gonna really be able to track any of your calories for one, because you don't know what you took out, what you didn't take out, but you also want those animal fats in there, that saturated fat. You don't wanna be on a zero fat diet, otherwise you are gonna feel pretty rough. This is gonna be what used to be my favorite section of the grocery store. And thankfully now I bypass the whole thing, because since I've retired, I've kind of taken as much of a passion for fishing as I have with bodybuilding. So I don't buy the meat from the store. Every fish that I consume now is caught and handled by myself personally. But I just want to go through a few things on here because I want to explain why I would choose certain things and try to give you guys some tips. You want to try to find wild caught, and here's your pink salmon. Not really my favorite taste, but it does say wild caught on it. I would trust that, hopefully. But I do know that salmon can be farm raised, so it's like I kind of question some of these labels. But I will say that stuff like this is where I would recommend you go. These are saltwater species. You know, you have tuna, you have mahi, you have snapper and cod. I like snapper, that's what I target personally on my own boat. Tuna's great. Those look like they're maybe already partially seared. I don't know if I would buy that or not. I would get the actual steaks. Just because I'm a little bit of an ecosystem or a marine ecosystem nerd, buy the mahi because it's the fastest growing fish in the ocean and the resources is always gonna be there. Unfortunately, snapper does taste a little bit better, but probably in 25 years from now, the next generation may not know what a snapper is, unfortunately. So moving down, cod, flounder, completely acceptable. Throw that in your diet. And the reason I like to use this is fish, for me and many, many other people as well, it digests very smoothly and it digests fast. Like when I eat chicken, I just feel full right here at the top. It's right at the top of my abs. I'm constantly like, I feel like I just ate even though it was 2 hours ago. With fish, it processes so much better. And not to mention, I like the taste of it. So if you like the taste of it and it works for you, clearly that was my go-to. The other fish you see people eat, this is tilapia. To me, you couldn't give me this to take it home. I do not like the taste of it. And I also don't like the farm raised for obvious reasons on that. And considering I actually have tilapia like 100 yards from my house, I've actually caught them out of the pond and they still taste like crap. So I don't eat tilapia. That's a no-go for me. All right, so one other thing I want to talk about, guys, is I hear people say that, you know, they're on the go and how like, oh, I didn't have food here, I didn't have food there. There's always going to be an option. You know, when people say you're making excuses for yourself if you're failing on your diet. And we're going to bring this up. So maybe you're out of town on a business trip or whatever you're doing and you don't have a fridge. Maybe you don't have the time. Like in my opinion, I can slam one of these. You know, you have 17 grams of protein in one pack. You're gonna want 2 to 3, depending on how big you are. But I could eat this whole pack in less than a minute. It does not need refrigeration. So if you're out of town for a few days, chances are, if you got the time to go to a restaurant, you got the time to go to a grocery store too. So it's, how bad do you really want it? So you can always grab this, get some plastic Tupperware, plastic silverware, and then you don't really need a refrigerator. You don't need cooking utensils. Another carb source, very popular amongst bodybuilders. I used it then, I use it now. We're gonna talk about jasmine rice. I'm not that guy that wants to hop on the bandwagon because everybody else is eating it. I was eating jasmine rice probably while everybody else was still stuck on brown rice back in like 20 years ago. You know, this was kind of one I would get. I typically would buy mine at Sam's just because I get it a little bit cheaper, but any good quality jasmine rice, find out which one that you like, what's gonna be best for you. And then for you guys that is gonna be on the go, again, if you don't have rice cookers, you don't have cooking utensils, right here, this was something that I used often, is your 90-second warm-up rice. Some of these are gonna have more calories than others. But for the most part, let me see if I can find, it's like plain jasmine rice, you know, 230, and let me just try to pick one that's gonna be high in calories, or higher.
Like the cilantro line, or any of the
Yeah, we check that out. I mean, so you go from 230 to 240. It's not that significant, so yeah, there's gonna be more sodium in it, but the thing is, I don't really advise people to avoid sodium unless you actually have a condition like a heart condition where you're holding fluid, or maybe a kidney condition where you're holding fluid. I don't feel the reason why you should restrict your sodium. I mean, I'm not saying just like load the salt on there, but like you don't need to go low sodium just to go low sodium, just for the sake of doing it. Otherwise, if you do, your pumps are gonna be absolutely terrible in the gym. You're not going to get a pump at all. So don't cut your sodium just for the sake of cutting it. So another little hack here, this is not for me because I don't really like the taste of pickles, but it is something that you guys could potentially use. You know, if you're hungry, if you look at your label, there is no calories on that label. There's nothing in this. So if you like pickles, this is something you can throw in as a snack food that will keep you a little bit fuller. Now, back to the sodium topic we were just on, this does have a lot of sodium in it. So again, if you have a reason that you can't have sodium, this is not your go-to. But if you're a healthy individual and there's nothing wrong with you, I would say this could make a good alternative snack. I mean, it's not sweets, it may not be your favorite, but you're trying to stay to a diet, you're trying to accomplish a goal, and you're trying not to be starving all the time, this would be an option for you. I would say I averaged $150 to $200 a week on groceries, but you guys also got to realize this was back when things was cheap. So, well, cheap compared to what you see nowadays, let's put it that way. So I feel like in today's time, in 2025, I would probably be looking at $250 to $300 a week. I would say that's pretty average, I would say, for a top level bodybuilder these days. It's kind of unfortunate, but you know, what can we do about it? All right, guys, so that was my grocery haul for you guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time.